Do you prefer? And I know you're in your own home. You like shoes off, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So it took me a long time.
I try to adhere to that. I'm flexible.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why I'm flexible on that right now. Is
I'm
because
going to argue against that because I think you can't be flexible. Keep going.
I'm flexible on it now.
Yeah.
Right now is because these floors and carpets in here are all getting replaced.
Yeah. So you don't care.
I don't care. We're not trying to preserve anything.
Yeah. Okay. Because for me, I agree as well for shoes off in the house. I think, say you live in LA or someplace where there's not as much sand and salt and mud and dirt as we live in Maine. So if you're in, and it's pretty much winter all year round up here, kind of. If you come into somebody's home, your own or anybody else's, you're going to track stuff in. And I have some roommates at my house, and I hope they don't listen to this podcast and get angry from this, but they don't
What are their names?
No, we're not going to go there. But they don't always remove their shoes. Sometimes they're in a rush or whatever. And I don't understand that, because then you're going to have the rocks and the sand and the salt and everything on the floor. And then the people who aren't wearing the shoes get on their socks. And I've taken my bed sheet off one day and been like, why is there asphalt crumbs in my bed? And I realized it's because I walked through a place they had their shoes on and I get in my bed, which I shouldn't, it's strange that you'd think that even barefoot you could track that in, but you do. So yeah, I think, so we're both in agreement that
we're in agreement
that shoes off is the way to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
That are snowy, icy, whatever. So it'd be, I don't know.
If you live where you can get all the little rocks and stones and mud and stuff on your shoes, I don't want to step on that in my socks or my bare feet.
So we're not weird then, because some people get really weirded out when I ask them to take their shoes off.
Not by my account.
So you think there's people out there that they're just like mopping and sweeping every day? They're like, yeah, everybody wear the shoes, come on in, shoes on. And then at the end of the day, they
I'm not gonna say that I mop and sweep every
other
day.
people, other people.
Yeah, absolutely. I think people definitely do that every day.
That's crazy to me.
But
I'd rather just take the damn shoes off.
I just want to say, that's something to aspire to. I think you should probably clean your floors every day.
You should clean them up every day. I don't know about that. That's rough.
I think it's a good thing to be able to aspire to. I don't think it's that hard.
I'd rather just take the damn shoes off. It's easy.
Now that I'm thinking, I'm actually going to change my position on this.
Oh, God, here we go.
No, I vacuum. I mean, especially with a pet, with a dog, floor maintenance is a big deal.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
But the underlying point is, walking around in my socks, I don't want to step in a little melted piece of snow.
Yeah.
That you tracked in with your boot, or some mud or sand or anything like that. I don't want that on the bottom of my feet. I don't want to have to track it through the rest of the house. So yeah, it's just easily solved by taking shoes off.
Now I'm kind of curious, because we were talking earlier about people saying stuff in the YouTube comments. I'm curious to see if people agree with us. Do you think we're in the majority, that most people in their houses take their shoes off?
I don't know. I once saw something that in a YouTube or a Instagram poll where people put milk in the bowl before they put their cereal in. I honestly thought that that's just a joke. No one does that. But there were a lot of people that were defending that milk.
Really? That's crazy. It would splash out everywhere as you poured the cereal in.
I would think that you would not be sure of the ratio of milk to cereal.
As well.
That's my theory on that.
But wow, yeah.
So, yeah.
And
so there's always going to be somebody that's going to take the opposite position, and they're going to be very emphatic, and they're going to feel the same way.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm actually excited for some of the YouTube comments.
P.S. The cereal thing, I'm sorry. The cereal goes in first, and then the milk.
That's your official.
Sorry, yeah.
Okay. Well, I think I'm just going to let people argue. You can go on a tangent about whether you want to put the cereal first or not.
You do whatever's right for you, but you might be wrong.
And also, I do want to say, because I'm acting as though I'm some hoity-toity high guy that is always the shoes off in the house. I grew up, my parents, to this day, you don't take your shoes off. And it's funny, because I do prefer it. I for me, because I'm lazy, I guess. So I understand, I was joking about my roommates, if they are in a rush and they just want to go in the house, I can see how they don't want to untie their shoes and go through the whole thing, especially if you've got big boots on. So I love when I go to my parents' house, I can just walk in and not worry about it. But then they are constantly having to sweep and mop and vacuum and do all this stuff. So I see both sides. On the milk and cereal, though, I do not. It's cereal first and then milk. I will not waver on that. And on that note, I think we've wrapped this podcast
There's nothing left to talk about. I don't even know what you're going to talk about on your next podcast.
You just watched a segment of the show Chasms of the Mind. To see the full episode, click the link below.